back to Wake Up Call from the Gunco Arms studios of NewsTalk 1290 and NewsTalk1290.com here in Parker Square. And joining me in the studio this morning is Stephen Santellana. He is the one of two candidates for mayor of Wichita Falls. He currently serves as the District 1 counselor. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
May I call you Stephen?
Oh, yeah. All day long.
So how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Well, thank you for being on the program. And as I said, you currently serve as District 1 counselor, and you've served in that position since May of last year.
That's right. So we're on our 18th month, coming up on our 18th month.
All right. So let's just cut right into it here. Why in the world did you decide to run for mayor?
You know, for me, I said no twice. I'm not going to lie to you. I got asked by some leadership within the town and leadership within our city, and our current mayor, I guess I can say this, he's endorsed me now, but current mayor really wanted to see his legacy kind of going forward in a progressive way. So he sat down, talked to me, and thought if I ever thought about it. Truthfully, I wanted to stay in my district. My original goal is to stay in my district, maybe one more term, and then maybe run for at large. But I think they had different plans for me. And it's one of those things I wasn't considering, but once I did and started looking into it and seeing the direction that I wanted the city go, I decided that I think that's kind of where I wanted to be.
Well, and for those that don't know, District 1 covers what area of
District
town?
1 is most of the country club. It goes big swath right up the center. So Fountain Park, Canyon Trails, Tanglewood, and goes all the way to Wrangler's Retreat. And Monroe is my cutoff around the old high side. So it's just almost dead center of the city. Okay. All right.
Terrific. Well, now let's talk a little bit about a couple things that have been in the news that I want to address here. You have a business partner, a gentleman that you went into business with earlier this year at the beginning of 2016, correct?
Yes.
A fellow named Chad Wilson.
That's right.
And Mr. Wilson owns another company, I believe, with his wife. Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay. And they had put in bids for and won some contracts with the city to do some demolition work.
That's correct.
And you've been criticized for having voted for that and taken part in the vote to approve those bids. You having been a business partner of his since the beginning of this year. Now you have said in statements you've made to other media outlets that you've talked to the city attorneys, and they said, yeah, you're okay to go ahead and be part of this vote. Is that correct?
That's right. The part of the criticism is because I think it's due to our lack of education to our public. And I'm sure the public is really interested in being educated on that. But the way it works is I formed this company, Summit GC, for post-council work to do federal jobs. We did that, paid the $900, piece of paper sits on the shelf, no bank accounts, no insurance, just going to sit there. When I saw a demo contract come up for Chad Wilson excavating Chad and Brandy Inc., I immediately think, okay, I know my roles, but let me make sure I'm right. Go to the city attorney, and the city attorney tells me, not only can you vote on that, but you're bound to vote on that. The way the rules read is, our 847 rules is we're not allowed to recuse ourselves for any vote unless we have financial interest in it. And I was like, okay, all right, I understand that. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. And I started thinking about that. I was like, why are we bound? And it's because our votes affect all of our families and friends. Right. Last night, it really kind of hit me. It's like, if I vote for a tax raise or a water increase or a garbage issue, and I have family members, best friends that come in and be like, hey, man, I really don't think you should vote for that tax raise. We're bound for that reason. So basically the rule says is you have a lot of easy decisions to make. It's the hard decisions that we make you vote yes or no. Now, you have a choice. You can vote it up and down. You can't recuse yourself. The only time I can recuse myself is if I have a financial interest, which I don't. And so that's why I'm bound. So the city attorney's advice was completely legal. And actually, I'm glad he gave me that advice. I'm actually glad I sought counsel. If I wouldn't have sought counsel, it probably would have looked worse. But literally anything I do that I think there's something to do that I'm not sure about, I run to our city attorney. Right. He gives of his legal advice because that's his legal expertise. He's our employee, and that's where we went.
Well, the argument is that you might have been in violation of Texas Local Government Code 171.001, Section 132, which is that's the section of the local government code that would prohibit you.
That's correct.
From being a part of that vote if you had a financial interest in it. But the distinction here was that, and I want to make sure I understand correctly here now, the company that you formed with Mr. Wilson at the beginning of this year is in no way connected to the company that won the bids to do the demolition work. These are two totally separate companies.
Totally different, separate companies. You could dissect any. That's the problem with being a business owner on council. You can dissect our business relationships, but we have to disclose those. Yeah. I even wanted to disclose, hey, I need to disclose to you, the city of Wichita Falls, my relationship with Chad on Summit GC.
Right.
The rule reads, have you made any money? At $2,500 is the benchmark for disclosing that.
Right.
Have you made any money? Zero. What's this company? It's just on paper right now. So as soon as you make $2,501, I actually have to put on a piece of paper. Now, even then, I still have to vote on Chad and Brandy Inc. jobs. I am bound by state law to vote on those jobs. There's no way I can recuse myself. Now, sometimes you can informally walk out on it if you don't want to, but when you talk about transparent and honest, you won't meet a more transparent or honest person. And I've shown that by actually going to our city attorney on all these issues and seeking his legal advice. I just don't want anybody to ever think that we're up there at council playing with the citizens' money, because we don't, especially myself. I mean, I literally take my job seriously, and I want to be 100% transparent. Where we got muddled is in the education process. People think if you have another company, although it's inactive, with the individual, you shouldn't vote on that. What the individuals and the citizens don't know is I have to vote on that.
Well, in a separate matter involving Mr. Wilson, he has some issues with DWIs.
He's got several DWIs.
Several of them. And the Wichita County District Attorney's Office has come out pretty harshly against the judge, the 89th District Court judge in this case, who in their estimation was very lenient on him in spite of the multiple convictions. Now, one of the things that has been brought up to me is that your brother-in-law, his name is Dobie Kosub, is that correct?
Dobie Kosub.
Kosub, okay, is an assistant district attorney in Wichita County. And there were some concerns about the connection there.
Not even the right court. And if anybody knows Dobie, as a matter of fact, if you know district attorneys, and as well as myself, when we speak of what should happen to Chad and Dobie is notorious for putting people in prison and giving them what they deserve. That's the best way I could put it. One DWI in Dobie's eyes should be imprisonment. Two DWIs in Dobie's eyes should be a longer sentence. 3 DWIs. So when we're at 4, Dobie Cost, and I imagine most of the district attorney's office would think that, I wouldn't say think, would want Chad Wilson to be in prison. It's the 7th degree of separation. You know, I think they're trying to attach my brother-in-law somehow to Chad Wilson's. I was like, if anybody would ever just call Dobie and get his statement, they would realize he wants Chad to go away for a long, long time. Most of the district attorney's office. If people ask me the same question, do you think Chad should be in prison? Absolutely, 100%. I don't support Chad in his actions, not one bit. I know the post Chad. I know the 812-day sober Chad. I support Chad in his sobriety. You know, if somebody reaches out to me, I think the absolute 100% good Christian thing to do is to help that person. Now, Judge Bernard saw it fit to keep him on the streets. I think we as a community should see fit to keep him sober. They talked about playing Russian roulette with the public. I agree.
Right.
But what good does it do? Take myself out of this counselor position. What good does it do as a friend if somebody reaches out to you and says, I want to stay sober. I want to be a good businessman. I want to help you with my walk, in life with Christ. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I told Chad no.
Right.
He's sober now. I want to keep him sober. I want to help him in any way possible that I can. But I just don't. There's just such a disconnect there on whether or not I thought Chad should be in prison. And I was like, Chad absolutely should be in prison. Judge Bernard thought fit not to. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. That's what he thought needed to be happen. Okay, so that's what happened. I'm here to help Chad in his sober life is what I'm here for.
Of course, at the end of the day, a person's got to want to help themselves before anybody else.
Absolutely. So same thing with my employees. I have several employees that were drug addicted, alcohol addiction. If I look at that person and I don't think you're going to help yourself, you're not going to get my help. Right. Chad was one of those people. I'm like, okay, your first 200 days, 100 days, let's see where you go. 800 days. I feel very confident about the direction Chad takes. And it's one of those things where you have to look in the eye of the man and say, are you going to stay sober? If you look at Chad now and you talk to Chad now, absolutely. Absolutely. Because what the difference is the attachment of Christ. That was the difference that Chad made. Before, he couldn't make it because he would deny himself. I'm not an alcoholic. Didn't want to go to church. When his last incident, once you attach to that Christ, if you're going to do anything in life, you better walk hand in hand with the Lord. That simple. Once he attached that, he's seen himself blossom, he's seen himself grow, his family, his business, his community, everything around him is not so much better because he's attached himself to God. I want to be a part of that. Lanham Line, our ex-mayor, is his sponsor, his AA sponsor. And I told Chad, if you have a problem with alcoholism, that's your guy. I don't know addiction. I don't do drugs. I don't know addiction to alcoholism. That's your man. If you have a problem with stress, family, your walk with Christ, I'm your guy. Call me. I do that for my own employees, not just Chad. That's what people don't realize. I can get a dozen people on the phone right now that will say, Stephen is my mentor. Stephen's the guy that I call when I have a little issue. And I have people in my life, my own father. Every time I struggle with stress or something like that, everybody needs those people. And that's kind of where I think some of the disconnect comes with the involvement with Chad is like, look, I don't, everything that Chad's done in the past, he needs to pay the price for that. Everything he does from now on, I want to do it as a community member to help somebody stay sober. That's where I'm at.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your running for mayor. Let's talk a little bit about your vision for Wichita Falls. Obviously, we've come a long way just since we came out of this drought. I mean, that has helped a tremendous amount, but we've got a couple of major issues on the table. I think number one, the threat of a wind farm in Clay County potentially impacting Shepherd Air Force Base to the point of shutting it down.
Correct.
Possibly. And the other, bringing industry into the city. It's nice that we have restaurants opening up about every 15 seconds, but we need manufacturing. I think we need more than just restaurants
you're
in Wichita
correct.
Falls. So what do you see in those directions, perhaps?
Well, we're speaking about Shepherd. I felt we kind of came to the game a little late on it. If something, once it hit our radar, we were hoping it wasn't too late. A state senator said, when asked, how do you feel about the windmills? And he's like, if Shepherd doesn't like it, I don't like it. Their next question was like, well, could you elaborate a little bit more? And he's like, yeah, I can. If Shepherd doesn't like it, I don't like it. I'm the same way. If it affects our mission with Shepherd, it affects Shepherd's mission, and affects our economy, I don't like it one bit. I've said I need to wrap my arms around Shepherd, and that's what we need to do. Right. Anything we can do to promote growth and promote Shepherd Air Force Base, that's what we need to do as a city. Right. I don't differ in my opponent in that sense. I mean, we both are like, Shepherd is it for us. I mean, they are paramount for this city. We will do anything they can, and we'll fight tooth and nail if we have to stop these windmills. I don't think the windmill companies made a really good argument the other day in our session that they belong in the city. We're telling them the whole state's yours. Have at it. We're not telling you not to build around military bases. We're telling you to do not build in a 25-mile bubble around military bases that have jets and people flying in them. It's critical to our mission that we get these windmills out. Now, there's different avenues we're taking down at the state legislature, and hopefully most of those pan out. And a lot of those have to do with tax abatements. If they don't get those abatements, they can't operate. They need those.
Well, if it weren't for those tax abatements, the windmill industry wouldn't exist.
That's correct.
As it does.
So we still have some guns, some bullets in our gun to fire. And when I say this, I don't want to be at the forefront, but I want to be right behind the guy at the forefront. In this effort, because it to me will be job one for anybody that becomes mayor, to make sure that these windmills don't get put up.
Right. As far as new industry in the city, and I think this goes back kind of to the Shepherd argument. Shepherd Air Force Base has been here for 75 years. It could be here for another 75 years, or could be another 30. We don't know how the Air Force mission will change, and if the base will grow or shrink or whatever. We've seen the effects on other cities and other states when a base shuts down. Chanute, Illinois is one of those. But in any rate, as far as industry in the city, it seems to me we've got to grow. We've got to have more manufacturing, more industry to help secure the future of the city. So what do you see the role the city will play in that? And you as mayor, what would you do?
We come at a good time. Me as mayor, right now, we had a lot of excuses. You start in 2008 with the recession.
Yeah.
You can use that as a really good excuse. I mean, it is. It's this recession really killed the country.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrible that our current mayor didn't get a fighting chance at bringing in industry because we sat through a drought. I mean, he and his, along with some special people within our city staff, saved this city. They can say it yes or no, but yeah, they saved the city. We needed water. That's ties into the base. We don't have water to bathe these 60,000 students coming in. They're going to go somewhere else where they can bathe and brush their teeth.
Right.
So we did some innovative things and we saved the city. So he didn't get a fair shake at it. But now we're post-drought. Lakes are full. people turn to oil. Man, the oil's just really, really hitting us hard. Well, oil's hit $50. Oil's going to come back. Everybody knows that. I mean, we've lived through it. My family was in the industry too. It's up and down. When it comes up, that's where you want a progressive mayor. That's where you want somebody with some vision. When I'm talking about vision, I'm talking about you've already got a plan intact to where you're going to see this job growth. And a lot of it is, we came second or third, some people that want to come bring their factories in here. And we think we use as many resources as we can. But what we found out is through consultants is we're an aerospace type industry. I mean, it was kind of the aha moment, like, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't think about it. But you got the Pratt Whitneys, the Alcoas, the Shepherd Air Force Base, Amfuels. Right. They told us you're aerospace. Don't hyper focus yourself on aerospace, but you're aerospace. Right now we give the chamber X amount of dollars, like I say, to go hustle up some business. And we do it through a guy named Kevin Pearson. He's incredible at his job. The chamber does an incredible job. But we're now telling them, let's see what your vision is for the future. Maybe we don't need one Kevin. Maybe we need three. Cities our size sometimes have 2 or 3 people out there hustling up business. And then when they bring them, this is the best part about me. When they bring them, they see my pearly whites at regional airport. I'm the guy who's going to greet it, because if you're going to sell this city, you want this guy. I guarantee you want me sitting in that seat, because my passion and love for the city, it flows out of me. And I don't have to try to sell the city, because I am Wichita Falls. And what we have, there's 2 things. I don't have pine trees. I don't have beaches. I don't have the mountains in the background. I just don't have them. I have mesquite trees. But what I do have is community, and I have cost of living. Those are 2 great things for us right now. The community, and now people are like, well, what do you mean by community? I mean by community, a little girl that got shot the other day, 13-year-old girl got shot out by McNeil. This community stopped. We paused. The city paused. The community, as far as the police department, said, we're going to get this right. The community, as far as Crime Stoppers, rallied up money. The community, as far as the city, said, we're going to authorize whatever we have to make sure we find this guy. The community paused. You don't see that other places. A little girl gets shot in DFW, Mesquite, anywhere else. A little girl gets shot and it's on the news, but the community doesn't pause. They just fly right by it. It's the community. And the cost of living is great. A guy that wants to make $80,000 here, or a guy who makes $80,000 in Virginia Beach, has a better chance of raising a family in Wichita Falls. So if you bring them in here and you sell that, and they see the community, they see we have a great university, Shepherd Air Force Base, things for their people to do, incredible park system. You give me 2-3 hours with them, and I want to be able to boost that person. Things that I don't have right now that I want to continue to work on that's out of my power is the school system. Sometimes I was like, man, I need a couple of good-looking schools. Everybody else has them. I wish we had them. It helps with the sell. It really does. I want to try to maintain taxes and water rates. We bring them in here. It doesn't help that I have the highest water rates. It's not going to help if I have the highest taxes. We try to hold the line all we can on taxes. But we want to project ourselves as a safe city. And it's really changing the culture and the attitude of the city. Is the Wichita Falls, the woe is me, we've been in drought. I'm going to say, here we are, kind of city. Come look at us. Look at us. We're bustling. When I say it in my commercial, we're on the cusp of greatness, and I really mean it. We're literally on the cusp of some great things are about to happen, and you better have some forward thinking, true leadership to lead us, lead you forward.
I know we do have issues with some people that a fellow I know that one time described them this way as caves, citizens against virtually everything.
That's right.
And I guess every community has those. We seem to have more than our fair share of them. That, a new idea.
Social media breeds these type of people.
Unfortunately, it does. How do you push back against those folks? Because we can't use the drought as an excuse anymore not to do things. That's over with. Our water supply problem seems to have been solved for the long term with the water reuse project. That pipeline is being built out to Lake Arrowhead as we speak. So that's going to alleviate a lot of the drought issues that we saw with this last drought. If we do get into another situation like that, we've got a fallback position now that can help us. How do you push back against those people that say we can't do this or we can't do that as a city?
There's the problem. It's the terminology right there. Pushback. Okay. Yeah. I'm not here to push back on anybody. I'm here to educate. Right. Okay. I do it right now, and I've done it my whole life, and I preach on it. I give speeches on it to college kids, to civic groups. There's 2 ways you can lead people. I mean, there's 2 ways you can lead people. I'm a lead and be led kind of guy. I always talk about it. When I give speeches, I'm talking about lead. I want to surround myself by people that are smarter than me, but I want to lead and also want to be led, which means I want to be led by the people. I'm going to lead them. Believe me, I'm going to be a great leader, a true leader, but I also want to be led. So, which means listening to them. Now, a lot of times we like to put those bricks up between us. I'm the guy that takes the bricks down as fast as you can put them up. as fast as you can put them up. I'm going to kill you with kindness kind of guy, because I want you to explain. I like to explain to people why I make the decisions. I had a huge issue in Canyon Trails last year. I explained to my own constituents in District 1 why I'm making the decision, why it's going to be good for them. And it took a while. It took 2 months and several meetings, several times away from my family. And finally, they had the aha moment. By God, I think you're on our side. Yes, I am. This is why I'm going to make this decision for you. This is why I need this vote to go this way. And it went well for me. Same thing with anybody that wants to push back. I think a lot of times we put those bricks up because we don't want to hear from those citizens. You're talking to the one counselor who has a cell phone number listed on the city website. The one counselor that answers every single email, text message. If I stay up till midnight, so be it. Because citizens want to hear from the representatives. It's tough, but if you're going to represent, you have to represent fully.
And that has been one of my criticisms of city government, county government, the school boards, every level of government, is the lack of communication between the people and those
open your doors.
Bodies.
I tell my counselors, you have to be, there's two kinds of counselors up there. You can be a really active counselor, really active counselor. Doesn't mean one's better than the other. I choose to be active. I own several businesses. I have a family. I'm on community boards. If I can find time to answer these citizens, and 9 times out of 10, they just want to talk to the representative. Right. And I love it that when somebody calls me, the first thing I do is listen. I won't say a word for the first 2 minutes. I've got an issue with this tree hanging over, and it just goes on and on and on and on and off. When they take that breath, I say, let me tell you what I can do for you. As a city councilor, I can't make anybody do anything, but I have influence. I vote on public policy, but I will make that phone call on your behalf. I will liaison for you. Now, sure. Whether or not that tree gets cut down or that pothole gets filled, I can't tell you. But if it doesn't, call me back. Let me see if I can make another phone call. That's what we are. We're representatives for our district. As a mayor, you're representative for the city. They want to know that they have an active mayor. I'm not just out there waving my hat. Glenn's done a good job. He answers a lot of his phone calls and a lot of his emails. I want to be the guy. I love talking to people. You want to meet me for lunch? I'll buy. If you want to come up to city council chambers, let's sit down and talk about it. Now, I do have a finite amount of time, but I will fill that calendar with anybody that wants to talk to me. And it's usually a representative of a group. People have huge concerns. They have huge concerns with impact being taken over. They have huge concerns with our water rates. Yeah. But a lot of times when you sit down, you explain to them why you made the decision as a city financially. It always comes down to finances. A lot of times like, okay, now I understand. They take them from a 10 to a 2, and then that attitude right there changes the development of that relationship between the citizen and who's representing them. Now, can I fill that council? Can I make my fellow councilors do that? No. And I'm not going to do that. But as a leader, as somebody that sits in that center seat and you look down both sides of the aisle across the dais, they want to know that, man, I'm being, this guy is leading us and he's representing our city well.
All right. Stephen Santellana, candidate for Wichita Falls mayor, currently the District 1 counselor. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
940-781-5321. That's my personal cell phone number. Blow it up. I'll eventually get back to you.
Okay. Stephen, thanks very much for being here today.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.